Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring you a video on the best Glavenus weapons guide, the new fire meta. So this video analyzes the weapons of the new featured boss of Season 5, the Blossoming Blade. This is the newest update for Monster Hunter now, and the Glavenus weapons are fire weapons. In addition, what makes them even more interesting is that Glavenus weapons also have a negative affinity like the Black Diablos weapons. First, let's go over the list of Glavenus weapons. You have the Sword and Shield, which is the Glavenus Razor, the Greatsword, which is the Glavenus Blaze, the Hammer, which is the Scorching Ishata, the Longsword, which is the Glavenus Spada, the Dual Blades, which is the Smoldering Cities, the Lance, which is the Svarog Blazer, the Charge Blade, which is the Scorching Demander, the Gun Lance, which is the Glavenus Buster, the Switch Axe, which is the Glavenus Smasher. Now we have the ranged weapons. For the bow, you have the Glavenus Arrow. For the light bowgun, you have the Glavenus Blitz. And for the heavy bowgun, you have the Burning Igna. Next up, we have the Glavenus weapons forge stats. So, they start at grade 5. Their element is fire, with their base raw attack being 368 and their base elemental status attack being 292. Now they carry a base affinity of negative 30%, and as you upgrade the Glavenus weapons to max, the elemental attack gets really high. So pretty standard with all of the final bosses or featured bosses, they start at grade 5. Now that we covered the base stats, here's the forge cost. For the Glavenus weapons, you must have 6 Glavenus Skills, which are rarity 1, 8 Monster Bow Mediums, which are rarity 2, 2 Glavenus Bones, which are rarity 3, 2 Glavenus Fangs, which are rarity 4, as well as 1500 Zenny. And now that we covered the forge stats, how about the max stats? Well, when you upgrade Glavenus weapons to grade 10.5, you get this. Its element is fire, with its max raw attack being 1579, and its max elemental attack being 1568. And of course, the max affinity it's still at negative 30%. Now once you maxed out, the Glavenus weapons have a high elemental attack value. But sadly, if you want them at max, you're gonna have to use a lot of materials. As you see here, Glavenus weapons 10.5 max cost. It has its own rarity 6 material, the Glavenus Plate. Why are they all the same name? In addition, you'll need 25 weapon refining parts and 425,000 Zenny. From personal experience, assuming you're doubling your rarity 6 materials, you can achieve this result in about 400 to 500 Glavenus or earlier if you're lucky. As someone with 2 max featured boss weapons, I have Mizutsune and a Zenogre weapon maxed out. Yeah, 400, 500 or less if you're lucky. But again, you have to double stuff too. So, you're gonna have to work really hard if you want to max out a Glavenus weapon. And now if you're trying to max these weapons, well, which ones are worth it? We're gonna start off and compare the damage with melee. Here's Fire Tap's melee damage comparison, and we take a look at all of the fire monster melee types as of Season 5. And as you see per the data, Silver Rathalos is the strongest. However, Glavenus weapons barely have a lower total versus Silver Rathalos. And if you look right there, literally 5%. You're barely going to notice it. However, this doesn't take into consideration critical ferocity versus critical element, but generally critical element is likely better because of its elemental damage boost. And if you look at consistency, etc., critical element wins out. Because yeah, we'll go on more of that later. But if you're looking for melee, yeah, not much of a difference. You already got Silver Rathalos. You already got Rathalos. Really not worth building a Glavenus melee weapon as you see per this chart. Alright, now that we covered melee, here we have range. Starting off with the bow. Everyone's favorite weapon, you know what I mean? I'm just kidding. Here we have the fire monster bow types as of Season 5. And as we see here, per the data, Silver Rathalos still reigns supreme. It's undoubtedly the strongest. Absolutely blowing Glavenus and everybody else out of the water. That's because, sadly, Glavenus doesn't have a charge level 3 to damage level 4 shot type. The best shot type of the game. What makes both super weapons, and a super weapon is something that has a mechanic that's incredibly powerful. And here we have the Silver Rathalos bow, just owning everything. This means the bow totally isn't worth going after. If you're going to build a Glavenus weapon, don't go after the bow. Totally not worth it. And just in case you're wondering, here's the justification. So we have the Fire Monster Bow Ammo comparison. Now we're looking at the top Fire Monster Bow Ammo as of Season 5. There's only 2. We got Glavneus and we have Silver Rathalos. Basically, that's it. Now as we see here, Glavneus has the rapid shot type at level 4. Unfortunately, there is no special charge shot type for the Glavenus bow, so it's nothing special. Yeah, they buffed it, more on that later for rapid, but the fact of the matter is, being able to pump out level 4 with only charge level 3 with 2 blinks is just way too good. Even if you do buff level 4, the fact of the matter is, it takes 3 blinks. 3 blinks means you have to dodge later, and 3 blinks means it still takes later for you to do damage. So the lack of super weapon power makes the Glavenus bow a skip compared to the Silver Rathalos bow. I mean, I get it. That's just the way it was supposed to be. It's just, yeah. That's what just makes it really hard. When you got a super bow, getting another super bow into the mix with the same element is kind of difficult. And that seems to be the case with Glavenus. And now that we covered the bow, how about the light bowgun? First bowgun we're going to look at, again, is the light bowgun. Fire monster, light bowgun types, damage comparison. And here we take a look at all the fire monster light bowgun types as of Season 5. Now as you see here, just like before, Silver Rathalos reigns supreme per the data. But Glavneus is barely behind by less than 1%. So we're looking at pure damage wise, etc. Yeah, plus 0.72 isn't really great. However, this doesn't take the ammo into consideration. Speaking of ammo, here we go. The fire monster types light bowgun ammo comparison. And we're looking at the top monsters, which basically is the top 2. Sadly, Glavenus has a poor light bowgun ammo set. Spread and slicing just don't mix. Yeah, you could just fire 3 and then end up slicing, but it just really isn't worth it. Especially if you look at what Silver Rathalos has to offer. Silver Rathalos stands out by having poison ammo, one of the best status inflictions in the game. So not only is it on par DPS wise, but you also have the ability to poison the monster, which is incredibly useful. So Silver Rathalos wins by a long shot if you're looking for the best fire light bowgun in the game so far. You will literally have one of the best. I think the other is paralysis in my opinion, but like per data usually it is. And yeah, it's just really that good. So again, you want a light bowgun? Silver Rathalos light bowgun is your best friend. Glavenus is a big skip. But wait, we haven't lost all hope, because you know what? Other than light bowgun, we have the heavy bowgun. And here's the fire monster types. Heavy bowgun damage comparison. Looking at all the fire type heavy bowgun types as of Season 5. Well, if you have any hope, that's why I'm saying H a lot. As you see here, per the data, Glavenus is the strongest, so yay, there is hope. There's actually a good Glavenus weapon out there. And this is where Glavenus shines, because it blows all other existing fire heavy bowguns out of the water. No, seriously. The best we had was Teostra, and it's absolute crap. Well, in comparison to Glavenus, and as you see here. But why is it that strong? Well, here's the fire monster heavy bowgun ammo comparisons. Taking a look at the ammo from the top 5 bowguns, which are heavy bowguns, which is basically Glavenus and Teostra. Now, the Glavenus heavy bowgun is the monster with the only 2 ammo set types. As you see here, it's the only one that has just two of them. So you have piercing and slicing. This allows you to cycle to pierce quickly for maximum damage. And with 2 slicing ammo, 4 slicing ammo, you can slice off tails really quickly. So you have 4 slicing ammo, which means if you're good enough at aiming, well, guess what? You're likely going to break that tail. And with pierce, anything with pierce and being able to cycle through pierce quickly will deal an enormous amount of damage, which is why the Glavenus heavy bowgun is definitely the item of choice or weapon of choice if you're looking to build a Glavenus weapon. However, we keep talking about the Glavenus weapons. How about the equipment skill versus the top fire monster type? So we're going to look at the top 3. And as you see, Glavenus provides critical ferocity at level 1. Sadly, with as much as you have to invest to make critical ferocity good, and you just hope you have good RNG with it. So it's totally not worth it. Yeah, you can see big numbers, but here's the thing. With critical ferocity, you have to have low affinity, and then after that, then you have a chance. So it's just way too conditional to be consistent. In fact, our MHN.Quest isn't a true assessment, because usually if per data it's 87% activation, or even less than that, I think. It's not 100%. So yes, it's very conditional. While Silver Rathalos stands out with critical element, which does a ton of damage, and you don't have to activate 2 conditions to make it work. All you need to do is crit. And you don't need to get negative crit and then have an effect, or positive crit and then have an effect. No, it's just straight up, you crit, guess what? It stacks, and that's all you need. So Silver Rathalos and Critical Element pretty much take the cake as far as what you're up against when you use Critical Ferocity versus Silver Rathalos. Silver Rathalos wins.
Alright, on to the next city. Let's go!
I love anime. Anyways, here's the overall analysis on the Glavenus weapons. You see, the Glavenus weapons are powerful, but they don't really stand out much, sadly. I mean, that's just the way it is. When Silver Rathalos came out for an event, I already knew that Silver Rathalos was going to reign supreme for a very long time. Anything with like a super weapon is pretty much going to reign supreme for quite a while. And as I mentioned before, its Critical Ferocity is a great build, but it's too conditional to be consistent. It's not going to give you the numbers you want consistently all the time unless you activate the second condition. That's a whole lot of work for not a lot of trade-off. At least if you like seeing big numbers, hopefully you get that chance. But the thing is, out of everything we've looked at, the only weapon that really stands out is the Glavenus Heavy Bowgun. Outside of that, the rest of the weapons, you're better off just using Rathalos if you're looking for budget, or if you want the best of the best, it's Silver Rathalos. And hopefully this video helps you decide whether or not you want to invest in the Glavenus weapons. If you already have a fire weapon maxed out, it will do just fine. You don't need to build a Glavenus weapon. Outside of the Heavy Bowgun, they aren't really notable. That's just how Data is, you know what I mean? A lot of people are like, oh my god, or like some out there are like, you know, Data doesn't matter anything. If you can't read this, it's actually quite simple. You see, this does more damage than the other thing, so that means this one's better. That's really how it works. If you can't read the data I'm giving you, I don't know what to tell you. Because, really, if you put in all the effort, or put in effort just to have an opinion, you need data. Data backing stuff is really important, so that you don't waste your resources. That's exactly why I do these things. So hopefully you don't waste your resources. I don't waste mine too. But with that being said, outside of the Heavy Bowgun, Glavenus isn't really worth it. But if you really like it, I ain't stopping you. Go right ahead, knock yourself out. Please do me a huge favor. Like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully y'all are excited for Season 5. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.